If a book needs several trigger warnings, I'll probably love it. Hey BookTube, it's Fee. John Gwynne is an author that I've seen super hyped up on Twitter by people that I know for a fact have very similar tastes in books to me. And somehow I did not get around to his stuff before I got approved for an ARC for Shadow of the Gods. Yes, I got a free copy of the book. No, that doesn't change my opinion on it. I still loved it. Within about the first 20 pages, I was reconsidering all my life choices because I was really mad at myself for not picking up this author sooner. It was a wild ride and I was living for it. This story and this world are heavily influenced by Norse and Viking culture, and it has 3 points of view. And all of these POV characters seem to be motivated primarily by finding freedom from the roles that they were born into. This book is the first in a new series, and it's more focused on battle scenes and thematic elements than it is on character or prose, which can be a pro or con depending on who you ask. That's not to say that either of these things were badly done, but I have a feeling that the thematic elements will make a huge impact by the end of the series, and that's what I'm looking forward to. In this world, the gods were defeated in this huge battle, and now even though there's lesser supernatural creature guys, there aren't any big, bad, powerful people. And the descendants of the gods who have magical powers and stuff are also looked down upon and enthralled because people think they're dangerous. Of the 3 point of view characters, Orca's my favorite. She and her family live on this remote homestead and try to live simply and not get caught up in the politics of the village that they trade with. But when Orca's son is kidnapped, she goes John Wick on everybody's ass and decides to go and find him. She takes no prisoners along the way and is a very capable fighter, like a total badass. Orca's probably the most terrifying mother I've ever read about, and I'm all for that. The second point of view character is a guy named Varg. Now, Varg used to be a thrall, but he kind of ended his master, and now he's trying to do other things. Mostly, find out who ended his sister. In order to get help with his quest, he kind of has to go down a side quest by joining this war band so that he has access to their, I forget what the word is, but it's someone who can do magic. And this person, he hopes, will finally help him figure out who ended his sister and set him on a path of revenge. As a reader, you definitely empathize with him, even though he never asks for pity. He's also very much aware of the different social classes, like he was basically bottom of the rung, and now he's a little bit higher. But just because he's a freedman now doesn't mean that his task is any easier. Even though he's moved up in the world, he's still not very close to getting what he wants, and he's got to fight for it the entire time. And the third point of view character is Elvar. She's a young woman who has joined a war band in order to take control of her own destiny, instead of being a pawn in her father's power games by marrying her off and making her have somebody else's heirs. Over the course of the story, she's able to prove herself as a warrior. Her character could fall into a trope trap where her story is just a bad retelling of Mulan or a knockoff of a Tamara Pierce book, but Elvar's story is more than that. This book is very dark and would make a really great R-rated action movie. The fight scenes are gnarly and very well described and very detailed, and I was able to have a beautiful picture of all the carnage in my head, and it was just wonderful. This book is inspired by Norse and Viking culture, and it also has a huge emphasis on earning your battle fame and basically gaining power through being a warrior and, ending people. Both men and women fight in this story, even though in the upper classes, women are still seen in that traditional role where they're good for marrying off and having babies. One of the major themes in this book is that there's no such thing as freedom because everything comes with a catch. If you've read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, you know what I'm talking about. Your social standing really limits what you can do in life, whether you're a thrall always being taken down, or if you're somebody from the upper classes who's expected to be used as a pawn. And even when you go in the middle of nowhere and try to just avoid all the trouble, it likes to find you. The emphasis on battle fame really drives the point to the characters that the more fearsome and higher body count they have in battle, the more powerful they'll be, the better their lives will be. And that's a metaphor for power if I ever heard one. What power you have comes at the pointy end of the weapon of your choice. There's also no clear distinction between right and wrong, and every time somebody does something that they think is right, something wrong happens. I really like this because I think that we really take for granted that there's no such thing as completely right and completely wrong. It's all sort of a spectrum, especially because the villain of one story is the hero of another. One thing that this book taught me as a reader is that I really like dark, gritty things where there's more consequences and less plot armor. If a book needs several trigger warnings, I'll probably love it. If you want me to go into the ethics of that statement, then leave me a comment down below because I think I'm about to sidetrack myself. When I looked up other reviews of this book, the biggest complaint that I found is that the characters weren't memorable. I'm a person who doesn't read for character. I appreciate a well-done character, but thematic things are more my jam. I also haven't read a lot of dark fantasy, and it's a genre that I really need to get deeper into, so I'm sure that there's some book that just makes this look like very mediocre, but I haven't read that yet, and I had a really good time, and so this got 5 stars because I enjoyed it. Guess I gotta go read more books. Darn. If you like what I do, please hit the subscribe button and join the Caffeination. We'd love to have you. I post bookish videos pretty much every week, and I try to read a lot. Like, share, subscribe on all your social media, and if you think that I suck at this, I probably do. Leave me a comment down below, and I will try to suck better next time. Bye.